question for me, it will be why did you build? Why did you set up this organization or this group?
It's
When?
yeah. Well, it's something that sort of happened over a few years. I met Marcel in Holland. There was a Rory evening at celebration in just outside Amsterdam, and I was invited along to play with Brendan, also the drummer who played with Below Zero, and also with Rory. And Marcel was a guitar player. So we had a rehearsal for a couple of days, and we did the show, and it was great. And then we did a couple more shows over a couple of years, maybe one every year. And then in the last sort of 2009, 2010, I was thinking of doing something different anyway, you know, myself personally, you know. And I knew Ted wasn't doing much, so I contacted Ted, and we just had a talk on the phone and about this and about that, just to make contact again. And then I was doing a show with Below Zero in Scotland, and Ted came along to the show and got up and Je suis, yeah.
Wow.
Monsieur.
Yeah.
And Ted got up and jammed with Below Zero. It was great. I really had forgotten what this guy can play like, you know, and it just sort of clicked something in my mind, and thought, well. And also, I started listening to all my old Rory albums that I played on, you know, and obviously Ted played on as well. And I started to think, these songs are great. Because I'd forgotten, you know, because I was going through a different period. Yeah. And I thought, well, let's get together and see if it works. And so I rang Ted and I rang Marcel, and we said, should we give it a go? And this was 2011, yeah. So it was last year, and we did a couple of festivals in Italy and bits and pieces, and it seemed to work. And we decided to take it on the road this year. So the first show was in January of this year. So we've been going ever since.
And so you built. So it's your idea, or it's very sure?
Well, sort of, yeah. It was sort of my idea, you know. But I think all the guys were. I mean, I know Ted was doing something different, and I think he wanted to change as well. So, I mean, I might have been an instigator, but instigator. But I think it just sort of happened naturally anyway, you know.
And so it's very interesting to me. So how do you choose Marcel? You know, for not substitute, but you know, for Rory, how did you choose it?
Well, he chose me, so you can answer that one.
I choose you.
No, it was for me. It was a dream. You know, when I was young, I listened to all the records, all the things where you listen to, I think, but also Rory Gallagher. But I never dreamed about it. Yeah, I dreamed about it, but never knew that it will happen. You know, but it was. You know, there was a guy in Amsterdam, you know, near Amsterdam, and he calls me up and he said, "I want to do a big thing about Rory Gallagher, and maybe with Gerry McAvoy and with Brendan O'Neill. And do you want to play guitar?" You know, that was in the beginning, the first time when we met, and then later on, we play what Gerry told. You know, we play some gigs, and then later on, Gerry calls me up and. You know, that was a dream come true. And then he said, "Hey, we're gonna do something maybe if you wanna do it with Ted McKenna." Wow. And I was really like, "Okay, there's another dream come true." and yeah, that's amazing for me. You know, it's just the best rhythm section you can on this planet.
Okay, and alles gut. Alles gut. Okay, that's good. And so about a compact disc. Do you have any idea about to publish any CD or anything?
Well, we thought almost immediately that would be a good idea, and we went first of all to Amsterdam, to Melior, which is Marcel's father's club, and we spent a week there, and we just did some ideas, and they turned out really well. We were very happy with that. And then just recently, after a little bit of touring, we went to Cumbria in England, to friends of Gerry's and the band, and we did the same. We spent about a week just putting some new ideas down. So we're at the stage where we have to just consolidate all these ideas and then make them into, you know, the best ideas into an album. So
No.
these are all original material. This is all original material.
And and about it's very interesting because I really want to know, you know, the Rory family. What is they think about that? They're very, you know, very touched, or they're very surprised, or they're very. How did you hear something?
From the
Rory family,
Rory's brother.
because it's fantastic. It's an echo, you know. It's wow. It's a continuation.
Oh, it's a continuation, yeah. We met Rory's brother Donald at sadly at a funeral, at Lou Martin's funeral, you know, and he'd heard reports about the Band of Friends, and he heard very good reports about it. So I think he's happy that we're doing it, you know.
Wow.
And also I think because I mean there's a lot of bands, you know, in France and Germany and Ireland and England, tribute bands who play Rory's, which is fantastic, you know. But this particular unit is slightly different because it's not really a tribute band. It's because Ted and myself, you know, Marcel to me is the closest I've ever heard to Rory, you know, and so I think it's a little level above, you know. We like to call it a celebration, you know.
C'est le groupe.
Yeah.
C'est vraiment le groupe.
Yeah, le groupe. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's remind me, you know, the New Orleans when you have the orchestra where we are playing about, there is a death, you know, in the family, but they are playing music just to celebrate it and to continue. So, wow. Bon, mais,
Good, I like that.
your last concert with 9 Below Zero, the 18 December, you know, at Leicester?
Leicester, yeah.
Leicester. It was just, you know, to build a band of friends, or what was the purpose of it?
No, I mean the last concert with 9 Below Zero was the last concert with 9 Below Zero. I had my own reasons for that, you know, that I left, you know, because you know, I wanted to go in a different direction, you know. I wanted to go in this direction, you know. I wanted to play, you know, in the way I played when I was younger, you know. I wanted to recapture that and relive that, you know. My roots, yeah.
You can still remember that.
I
far
can
back.
still remember that.
And give there an artist you really want to play with? Do you have any?
Oh, I mean, you guys. I mean, there's lots of artists. I'd love to play with Muddy Waters. You know, I mean, I met Muddy Waters. You know, which was fantastic, and I'd love to play with you know, Sonny Boy. I'd love to play with a lot of people. You know, I mean, it's that would be. I mean, I have been lucky enough to play with certain people like Albert Collins. I played. In fact, Ted and I played with Albert Collins in Montreux. In Switzerland, you know, and which was fantastic, you know. And so there's people I have played with, you know, but I'm a big fan of Bruce Springsteen. I'd love to play one song with Bruce Springsteen. That would be good for me. And Ted? I'd like to eat a hot dog while I'm playing with.
Bon appétit.
I don't want to pass out during the show because I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I was friendly with Steve Winwood at one time, and I've always admired him as a musician. I used to see a fair bit of him and play with him at his home, you know, and I'd love to play with him again. I know he's a newcomer. He's only a young guy, you know.
Marcello.
Yeah, for me, is this the highlight for me? You know, this is.
That's your dream.
Yeah, but it's also, you know, where we play, the festivals, and the people we meet. Robin Trower, Alvin Lee. We meet a lot of people again. Like Gerry and Ted meet them maybe 20, 40 years ago also.
Okay.
But for me, it's and playing with those guys is for me the dream. Because what is higher than that? To play with Rory's band.
And here's that €50.
No, that's true. It's really amazing.
Okay, so you're passionate. Yeah. It looks like that. Okay, so that's good. And you know, how did you meet Rory finally? How did you know?
No. I met Rory in Belfast because I'm from Belfast, and Rory with his band Taste moved to Belfast, and he ended up living just outside Belfast. And I used to go and see Taste because they were a phenomenal band. You know, I mean, they were like something completely new. This was like 1967, you know, a long time ago. I was 2.
Not so far.
Yeah, deux ans. But I met him in a music shop, a music store in Belfast, and he was just playing an acoustic guitar, and we started talking, and he was a gentleman. He was perfect, you know. That was it. But after that, my band that I was with, we played together with Taste and different festivals in England,
So did I.
and also with Ted as well.
When
Yeah.
I was 16, 17, well, when Rory in Taste played in Scotland, my band, I was at high school, and my band, we supported Taste in Edinburgh, and that's when I first met him.
And you know, it's very interesting to me about we are very novice, you know, and we are beginner. And how do you work with recording? How to recording a good sound? You know, how good? You know, in 2 or 3 sentences, but there is a magic thing. What happened when you feel it?
I mean, recording. If you go back to the 50s, they used to use 1 or 2 microphones in the studio to record, and it sounded fantastic. You know, recording has become more and more complex over the years. You know, and yeah, I mean, which is fine. You know, because digital recording is very fast. You can work very, very fast on it. You know, but I mean, it's. I mean, in the 70s, people went through nightmares, you know, because to get a drum sound, and you play the drums in the studio, and they sound great, and you go in, you listen to the speakers, and they sound terrible. You know, I mean, Ted will tell you that. I mean,
Well, the funny thing is about sound is, you say it back in the early days, they used a couple of microphones, but we were travelling in Germany, or was it in France? When was it? Just recently, we had a classic station
oh yeah.
with music from the 60s, and it just jumps out the speaker because it was and then you had to record. I mean,
live.
you had to record everything in one day.
Yeah.
You know, you just got in balance with the microphone, and the vocals were stood here, and somebody was here, and the drums were back there, and you just recorded it all at once.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there's too many things to say about recording, really. I mean, there are so many different ways of coming up with something that's magical. If you feel good when you do it, and when you hear it back, you know, usually there's a kind of magical feeling when you know that it's going to be good. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that happens sometimes.
I mean, we could be here for weeks talking about recording, you know, and what's the best way to do it, and what's not. You know, it's like it's really it is.
Okay. So our 2 last questions. That's good. What do you think about the blues rock scene now?
Well, at the moment, there's not a big blues rock scene because there's not enough young people playing, you know, blues or. There's a big rock scene, but for blues, I mean, there's a couple of young guys. I mean, Ollie Brown, I think, is one guy, and Joe Bonamassa, obviously. I mean, he's become like a guitar legend now. I mean, he's very good. But I think there's not enough, you know. But I think that what comes around goes around. I think it'll come round again, you know. It's because the thing about the blues and that sort of music, it never goes away. It always sort of comes back, you know. It always, you know, it always revises itself, you know. It always, you know.
One of the big problems is that the infrastructure. When we were young, we learned to play by playing lots and lots of gigs. And I don't think there's the same amount of gigs for young musicians to play.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
And you have to put the hours in front of an audience to learn your trade. You have to learn your trade, you know. So
That's true. There's a lot of people can play a song, maybe 2 songs, but do a show for 1 hour or 2 hours, and keep it, you know, interesting. That's the difficult one.
You know, it's kind of it's so rare. You know, to heard about really rock, really blues. That's why. You know, if you give all the time hamburgers, you don't know what is a hot dog. You know, that's why it's very rare. You know, it's
well, this is down to the media. This is down to radio stations, television, because they don't promote it enough.
Exactly.
you know.
That's sad.
And well, that's I mean,
But you're here with the new radio station.
Yeah, last question. If just if you have any souvenir, I remind to
Just one.
yeah, about Rory in one notion or one word. Souvenir.
a memory of Rory. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, Rory was, well, to me anyway. I mean, I'm sure to Ted, he was a great friend of mine, a personal friend. He was a lovely human being. He was a fantastic musician, and I think he should be recognised more nowadays. You know, I think people should listen to him more. You know,
Yeah,
Edward.
totally. Of course, he was an amazing personality, a very, very, very nice man, very passionate man, and I think there aren't many people who can do that anymore. To be a performer and a guitar player, to do what he did, you know,
Great.
there are very few people who can do that. And I think he leaves a big mark, and I think more and more people will realise that. And it all came from he put his heart on the line every time he played.
He did.
You know?
Really, and thank you very much for your hope, because all the time when we heard from you have very, the life is very short, so you have excellent mission to give it to us, our this patient. Really, thank you.